You've been calling yourself lazy for months, but here's the truth. You weren't lazy, you were exhausted. Mentally, emotionally, quietly. Some mornings, even getting out of bed felt like a battle. Simple tasks felt overwhelming, and instead of understanding your pain, you labeled yourself unmotivated. You internalized it. You believed the lie that something was wrong with your discipline. But maybe, just maybe, it wasn't laziness. It was depression in disguise. We all know the face of depression. It's the person curled in a ball, crying in a dark room. But what about when it doesn't look like sadness? What about when it hides behind a facade of apathy and low energy? Because let me tell you a story. I sat in my chair, staring at the blank canvas in front of me. The cursor blinked incessantly, mocking my inability to move, to write, to do anything. Hours had slipped by, marked only by the passage of time on the clock. My reflection stared back at me accusingly from the darkened screen, a pale ghost in the flickering light. I knew I wasn't lazy. I wanted to create. I wanted to pour my heart and soul into every stroke of my keyboard, just like I did before. But today, and most days, recently, the well within me had run dry. The creative spark that once ignited my passion had dimmed to a feeble ember. And so, I kept scrolling. I scrolled past articles with titles promising to unlock my hidden potential, each word a fresh stab at my already wounded pride. I saw memes poking fun at my favorite hobby, each one a tiny paper cut on my soul. I read stories of others who found their inspiration in mundane, everyday moments, and I envied them, wishing I could find that magic too. Oh, how I wanted to scream out in frustration, to tear at my skin to make it feel something, anything, other than this awful numbness that had become my constant companion. I'm sure you've been there. Maybe you're still there. You might even recognize that feeling of emptiness, that lack of motivation, or maybe I just described it well. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself why? Why am I feeling this way? Why has it been so hard to get out of bed lately? Why does the thought of working on my goals seem overwhelming? Why do I spend hours scrolling, eating, watching TV, yet I feel empty inside? Why am I still here? Well, there is an answer, and it's not laziness. The world loves to label us. When we can't perform, they shout, lazy, good for nothing. They don't see the storm raging within us. They don't hear the whispers of our soul. We feel tired and we keep telling ourselves, we just need some rest. But deep down, we know it's more than that. We feel drained and empty, and we blame ourselves. But maybe if we dig deeper, we'll discover it's not laziness, but a cry for help from our hurting hearts. Have you ever struggled with feeling unmotivated and found it hard to push through? Did you ever think that it might be something more than just laziness? In our fast-paced society, we often forget that mental health is just as important as physical health. What we need to remember is that sometimes feeling lazy or unmotivated can be signs of something deeper, like depression. In Scene 2, we talked about how depression can hide in plain sight, looking like low energy and apathy. But why does it do that? Because depression is sneaky. It lures us into a false sense of calm, making us believe it's our fault we're struggling. It whispers lies like you're just lazy, or you don't really care. These lies stick like burrs in our minds, leading to a dangerous cycle. Imagine it as a tangled web. Each lie adds another strand, making it harder and harder to see the truth. This scene highlights the insidious nature of depression. It preys on our vulnerabilities, convinces us that our struggles are and then exploits our guilt to deepen its hold on us. This creates a vicious cycle. The more we believe these lies, the deeper into the web we get pulled, making it even harder to break free and seek help. Scene 3 dives into the depths of this emotional labyrinth. As the protagonist scrolls, eats, and watches, depression takes the wheel of their life. They're no longer in control. Depression convinces them that these actions are their choices, when in reality, it's the illness manipulating them. These activities become a form of Instead of bringing pleasure or comfort, they leave the protagonist even more disconnected and numb. Think of it like trying to drown out the silence in your mind. The silence is deafening, so you put on headphones, turn up the music, and try to drown out the silence. But the louder the music gets, the harder it is to hear anything else, including yourself. This brings us to Scene 4, where the protagonist is stuck in a relentless shame loop. The more they struggle, the more they blame themselves. This guilt and shame are like heavy chains dragging them down. This scene shows how depression weighs us down, not just emotionally, but mentally, too. It's a tormentor that laughs as it crushes our self-esteem and hope. This is the darkest part of the journey. The weight of self-blame becomes unbearable, and the distance between the protagonist and their true selves grows wider with each passing moment. And now we reach Scene 5. Here, the protagonist isn't looking for another productivity hack. They're longing for something much deeper, a moment of true acceptance and understanding. What they need is for someone to tell them that it's okay to not be okay. They're craving kindness and compassion, not criticism and judgment. This scene is a turning point. It shows that we don't always need advice or solutions. Sometimes we just need someone who gets it, who understands that we're struggling without having to be told you're lazy or undisciplined. In Scene 6, we see the first tentative steps towards healing. The protagonist starts small, taking a shower, drinking water, opening a window. These aren't grand gestures, but they're significant because they show a willingness to engage with the world again. This scene emphasizes that recovery isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. Some days will be better than others, but every small step, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is a victory. Finally, we come to the last scene. The protagonist is still here. That in itself is a testament to their strength. They've endured the darkness and emerged, battered but unbroken. This final scene is a reminder that just showing up, just being here, is an achievement worth celebrating. It's a call to recognize our own strength and resilience in the face of adversity. So, remember, it's not about being productive every day. It's about acknowledging our struggles, embracing our vulnerabilities, and appreciating the strength it takes to keep going, especially when we're battling something unseen, like depression. If you've reached this point in the video, I thank you for listening to this message. It's not easy to talk about mental health, but by sharing these stories and having these conversations, we can help break the stigma surrounding mental illness. Whether you're struggling yourself or supporting someone who is, know that there is hope. Reach out, seek help, and remember that you're not alone. Together, we can make a difference. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on future videos. Thank you for watching.